Magic Makers. I'm Mom Virella.
And I'm CJ Peterson. Welcome to Magic Making Mischief. Get your wands to the ready.
I dropped my
Lost it. Get your wands to the ready because we solemnly swear we're up to no good. Today we're going to have artist William Russell, but before we get there, Mombi, do like a really quick brief of this weekend because we're going to go more in depth in it next week.
Yes, so we had Pop Culture Power Show, which is a tongue twister, and I finally got it down at the end saying it right, and that was a lot of fun. It had a lot of nostalgia kind of feel to it, and so that was in Stafford, Texas at Stafford Center. And I've got lots more footage coming up from it. I've got like over 200 gigabytes of footage from that weekend. So lots more coming up, panels and all kinds of stuff. So we will be talking about it next week, like you just said. But we're also talking, what is the one we're talking about next week too?
Chautauqua Festival?
Chautauqua Festival. And that's the book festival, right?
Yes. And Texas.
And that'll be the before video, but we'll share our goodies from
actually next week I'm wrong. Actually, we'll do that the week after. Next week is actually Kilgore Geekend.
Yes. Okay.
Runners McGinnis and I will remember it in a minute. Rick Custer.
It's on my phone.
Yep, it's Rick Custer and Melissa McGinnis for
Kilgore Geekend.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, it's Rick Custer and
what is that? Okay, hold on. Oh, hey. Oh, the emojis come up as words on here.
That was kind of wild.
That was weird. Okay.
Today we're going to be focusing on Mr. William Russell, the artist for Psycho Sal. Welcome, William.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me. I was just sharing to a couple places for you guys.
Awesome.
Man, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for participating with your wand and everything. That was
awesome. The one I like threw across the room. Yeah.
Okay, I threw my new mic the other day, so we're good.
You threw magic
We're used to throwing stuff now.
Magic mic. No.
Wait, what?
You said it. I didn't.
PG. Okay, wait. What?
I was PG.
You said throw the magic mic. No, never mind.
Okay. No, I said new mic. I did not say magic mic.
Why are you so red?
Oh, Lord.
We always are.
Oh, my gosh.
Much. So, Mr. Russell, can you tell us a little bit about Psycho Sal, how it got started, what it's about?
Oh, well, Psycho Sal, of course, is my creator-owned comic. It's about a serial killer in New Orleans in the 1980s, 1986 to be exact. It's a concept that I came up with a couple years ago, and because I'm a big horror fan, I love horror movies in general, and I love, I documentaries on serial killers and stuff like that, like most people do. But it was a story that I sat down and I talked to Chris Hayes about, who's a incredibly talented horror writer. And, I told him my concept, my story, gave him my notes, and he helped me kind of bring it to life with the writing part. And because I wanted to kind of flip not only comics on its head a little bit with this way we're writing horror, writing Psycho Sal, but I kind of wanted to throw the pattern of the way serial killers have already been in the past into a kind of a new concept. Normally with serial killers, they fit into a pattern, a profile. They hunt a certain way, or they hunt a certain area, things like that, certain types of people. Mm-hmm. With Psycho Sal, there's no pattern to him. It doesn't matter what color you are, what sex you are, whether you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. His victims can be anyone and everyone. And he leaves no evidence. There's nothing at the murders except for a single painting that he leaves at each murder and a little voodoo card. And the painting's a recreation of each one of the murders. So that's the only thing that links it. And because every single murder has been a different type of murder. So that if it hadn't been for the paintings, the police, FBI would have never thought it was a serial killer. The other way we're writing the book to flip it on its head comic-wise is, and as far as we know, it's never been done. It's 9 issues for the first batch, and the first 3 issues of the book is being written from the perspective of the FBI agents working the murders. When we switch into issues 4, 5, and 6, the perspective is going to change. And now you're going to be seeing the world and experiencing it through the eyes of one of the victims.
That sounds like a great movie premise, just saying.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to play with, something that is unique. Like I said, we've seen books and movies where it might be from a victim's perspective or it might be from a killer's perspective. But we've never seen this type of change with it to get people emotionally connected to the characters. Right. And then when we get to 7, 8, 9, we switch perspectives again. And now you are going to, what's up, Chris? Speak of the devil and he shall appear.
It's like a Dexter kind of idea.
Yeah, exactly. And then on 7, 8, and 9, what's up, guys? We switch to the perspective of Psycho Sal. So you will see how he views the world, how he chooses his victims, how he experiences these murders and things like that.
I like the idea. I'm kind of fascinated. I don't do creepy, but I like the idea. No, the author in me loves the perspectives that you're tossing and the premise behind it. It's great. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we wanted something that would be unique, that would kind of stand out and give people a new experience with not only reading, but reading a comic. And to help sell that concept, Chris Hayes wrote issues 1, 2, and 3 for me and did an incredible job. But we're bringing Lori on, who's another talented writer. She's going to be writing the next 3 books. And then once we get to the Psycho Sal perspective, we're going to change writers again, just to help give that energy that it's a new perspective all over.
So it's more of a graphic novel versus an actual comic book, or are they comic books?
Oh, they're straight up comics. Yeah, they're straight up 22, 24-page comics, but which does make this type of writing a little bit more difficult because, you're having to sell it, the changing of perspectives, you're having to sell it written, you're having to sell it visually. And that's, that makes it definitely a different aspect to it of the concept. So of getting it done.
Definitely.
So I'm going to backtrack here. Yeah. What started you in the beginning as an artist to get into like the comic book genre of it? Like, as far as you started, I'm assuming like most people start as an artist when they're kids, right? Yeah. So what's your backstory on this?
I've been drawing since I was a kid. I used to draw real heavy when I was younger. And then as I got into life and children and all those things, it all kind of takes the back seat. And of course, back then it was a whole different ballgame. There was no social media. There was no, anything like that to help propel you as an artist without needing a company to do it. There's no doubt about it. Social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, etc., it definitely opened the windows to a much broader world as far as putting yourself out there and people being able to experience you. It allows you to create and stuff like that and make a living off of it, again, without being dependent on a company. But I was in the insurance world before I started doing this. I've been doing this professionally now for 5 years. Prior to that, I handled life insurance benefits for union members and stuff like that with my other company. And I was there 7.5 years and I loved it. I made great money. I don't know what happened. About 6 years ago, I was sitting at a park one day doing paperwork in between appointments. And, I was like, I want to draw again. And at that point, I hadn't picked a pencil up in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, and I don't know what caused that, what made that mindset change. And I went the very next day and I started drawing anywhere between 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I did that for a year straight. Then I stepped into this world and I started putting myself out there, created an art page and things like that, started promoting the work that I'd accumulated over that year. And people started buying it. And, and then the next thing you know, I was getting commissions and stuff like that. And the ball was really rolling. And I tried to do my insurance world and this at the same time. And at that point, for a year straight, I tried to make that work. And I was doing 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then I was doing another 8 hours a day on Saturdays and another 4 hours a day on Sundays. And I did that for a year straight. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And I knew if I walked away from the art part, I would never, ever go back. So I let my insurance thing go, which, part of me, some days I go like, what the hell am I doing? Because way less work and a hell of a lot more money doing that. But the fans are what, at the end of the day, the fans are what makes it incredible. I absolutely love the experience.
Yeah. Well, and doing something you love, that's priceless. You know, like the actual being able to step back and look at what you finished, be like, man, I made that kind of thing. You know, there's something to be said about it. Speaking of your commissions, I got to show this one off. I know we don't have it in the lineup. This is, let's see if I can get it without my lights glaring on it. This is one of the classic monsters finished one here he did. You got Dracula, the Guild, I mean, like everything that just, that's the embodiment of like.
Here, we'll go ahead and
I'm a huge fan of the classics. So, but I've been real blessed so far. I did a couple covers. I did like one cover the first year I was actually doing this. So I had my first published cover, and then I got a second. Then the third year I did like 2 or 3 more. Now in the last 2 years alone, 2021 and 2022, I've done over 70 published covers. Everything from indie projects to Dynamite Comics, doing retailer exclusives for covers like Vampirella, Red Sonja, Purgatory. I've done Department of Truth. I've gotten 2 covers for Department of Truth. I've done 2 covers for Stray Dogs, Dog Days #1, Haha, Ice Cream Man, and then like I said, indie projects like Don't Pay the Ferryman, The Detour, stuff like that. I've done cover for Night Wolf and things like that. So I've been lucky. I've been very proud of what I've been able to accomplish. And now we just finished issue #3 Kickstarter for Psycho Sal. Issue #4 is already written. So the ball has definitely been rolling. It's been rolling good so far.
We've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different artists at Comic-Cons and such, and there's usually different styles. Without giving away any trade secrets, how do you do your art?
It depends on what I'm doing, of course, but usually if I'm doing covers for people, I'll do like these little thumbnail, layout designs of poses and stuff. And I'll usually send that to the retailer and they'll pick from that which one they want to do. And then I sit down and I start working that process of the character. And then once I get like a solid loose pencil design laid down, I'll send that to them to get a final approval. Make sure they're happy. If there's anything they want to change, that's when they need to change it. And then I move into final pencils. Then I show them that final work. And then I send it over to either Dave Kemp or Dan Kemp, their brothers. They do incredible colors. They're the ones that colored the Universal Monsters you just showed. So they do great work. And as far as that goes for covers, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorillas had quite a few posts on
your work before.
But I saw some of your work without knowing it at the time. And another one is parameters of any sort are harder for artists. Parameters, limitations, restrictions, i.e. boxes to fill, but definitely done daily.
Yeah, people don't, and I try to do, like you guys will see me go live sometimes and we'll talk about the industry and we'll talk about what it takes to do this. Like a lot of people really, especially anyone who works like a regular 8-hour job. And that makes this difficult sometimes. Like if you're trying to, do things with family, or if you're trying to, date or whatever, or be married, whatever the case may be. It's really hard for people outside this world to understand what it is, because especially when you're doing it all yourself. I mean, you have emails to answer, PMs to answer, retailers to deal with, fans to communicate with about projects, etc. You've got to update posts. You've got to do pre-sales for retailers on covers that you've done. You got to book your own travel and make sure all that stuff. Then you have to do all the travel. I did 2021. I did 22 shows in 11 months.
Goodness.
And then 2022. I think it was I averaged about 1 show to 2 shows a month in 2021. 2022, I mean.
They're not shows that are down the road. I mean, usually there's some distance on those.
Yeah, most of my shows, the closest ones are 4 to 6 hours. They're the closest.
And you just drove down to Orlando recently for the MegaCon.
I was at MegaCon.
I just say I have a lot of friends that actually got out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, have you seen William Russell? He's an artist. He's out there. Check him out. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good turnout too. They did about 30% more record sales than they did the year before. So it was a really good turnout. But yeah, people, I mean, they don't really understand what goes into it, because then you got hours of actual work. Then you got to do the promos on social media, etc., to stay relevant. So usually my day starts at about 6 a.m, and I usually finish about 7, 8 p.m. at night. And that's pretty much 6 days a week.
Man, I understand that. I do like the editing stuff and everything in between the events and all the posting, and I'm just like, but mine's all digital. It's like y'all do all the hand drawn and everything. I'm like, yeah. Good job.
But it's worth it. It's worth it. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of travel. There's some drama sometimes, but once you see the fans, once you spot them, whether even if it's just in a PM, when you send them the picture of their commission and they just go like on, for like 5 minutes. Oh my God, I love it. It's awesome. It's more than what I thought. I thank you. So like, that is what makes it worth it. When you see them at the cons and they spot your booth and they're grinning from ear to ear, and, they come up and they want to give you a hug or shake your hand and get stuff signed. It makes every bit of it worth it. Like, nobody forces me to work the hours I work. That's just me being, like OCD and I have a very addictive personality. So it's my own fault for that. But I can't stand the idea of being late on deadlines. I can't stand the idea of making fans wait very long for commissions. So, I put myself through those extra work hours and stuff for that. But once you see the fans, it's every bit of it's worth it. I mean, every single bit of it. And that's why I'll never be able to comprehend the guys who just, don't, like, they've forgotten that, I guess. I don't know, but I just can't wrap my head around that.
Creative brains, we're wired different. So it's like we put this stuff out here and we create this stuff, and it's almost like putting your heart out there going, please don't squish it. That's our heart. Please don't squish that. But it's like, we're full of self-doubt. So when you can find someone who's like super excited about that, re-energizes you and gets you to want to do it again. Yeah,
it truly does, because when we do those shows like MegaCon, I drove 11 hours there. And then as soon as I got there, I got in my hotel. I went to bed. I got up the next morning at 6 a.m. I was at the con by 8 a.m. setting up my booth and all that stuff. We were there until 9:30 that night. Then we finally go somewhere and grab a dinner at 10:30, and then we go to the hotel and we work on commissions till about 2 a.m. for people to pick up the next day. And then we're right back at it the next day at 6 a.m. We're at the con, for another 12 hours. But like I said, it's true. You're exhausted, but it's amazing the energy you get from the fans when they're just, or you see the little kids that get excited about like the prints on the print wall and things like that, and them talking about their favorite characters and stuff like that. It washes every bit of the exhaustion away. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the con hangover is a real thing too, because people don't understand. It's like they see you for those few minutes that they see you, but you have to do this like all weekend long. Yep. And on top of it, you like this weekend had to drive 11 hours on top of that, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Yep. Yeah, it's not. But like I said, it's I definitely don't want it to do it. Right. I definitely don't want it. Like, it's just part of it. It is what it is. If you're going to choose to do this and be an artist and interact with fans, you just got to suck it up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to hear the Cry Me a River stuff. We have one of the best jobs in the world, and we get to see the excitement on everyone's face when they, like I said, when they're picking up commissions or they see you at a show. It's one of the greatest responsibilities you could ever have, especially when you're interacting with fans that want to show you like their portfolio, or they want to get your opinion on their art. You have a 100% responsibility as a artist, creator, writer, et cetera, that you need to put on your best show. Mm-hmm. Because you never know the person you're interacting with, whether you could just made that person's life and they'll go on to be a great artist later, or you could have just doused their dreams. You have an incredible responsibility. And that's why you need to kind of suck up all the, tired excuses and all that stuff, and just put on a great experience
for those weekends. Just putting that out there. Caffeine will be your best friend.
That's right.
Yes. So So you mentioned commissions. You do these during the shows. How many do you think you normally do?
When I first got started, I didn't have a cap on it. So I would show up to cons per day. I'd put my little list out, my notebook for people to write down to get commissions. And now I would keep it relatively simple to make them faster. I would only do like headshots at cons or half bodies. And if they wanted a full body with background, all that, I'd have to take it home and bring it back. But as I got more into this, and I was doing the 99% of shows by myself. I don't like the idea of working and I can't interact with the fans because they paid their damn money to come. Oh, excuse my language. They paid their money to come into the show, and and they didn't have to do that. So I don't. If they come up to my table, I want to be able to give them the same energy they're giving me. So I cut back. So now when I do shows, I'll have my little notebook out there, but it only has like 4 spots or 5 spots per day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Once it's full, it's full. And yeah, at the end of the day, that does take a little money out of my pocket, so to speak, because that's work I could have done. But it allows me, when someone walks up to my table, I can interact with them and give them the attention they want without them feeling like, oh, he's working, I don't want to bug him, or oh, well, let me get back to what I'm doing. So it allows me to give them more time. But yeah, I do commissions at shows, but I limit it now. And that's helped out tremendously.
Now, for those who do want to get commissions that maybe weren't able to catch you at the show, they can find you on Facebook, correct?
Yeah. They can find me on Facebook and Twitter. Not Twitter, I'm sorry, Instagram, using that @Latimer12. Facebook is definitely the best place to find me because I've got my personal page, and then I have 2 art groups, one that's private and one that's public. We do giveaways and things like that in the art groups, along with you get early access to exclusives, print designs, medals, and stuff like that. And to answer Gypsy's questions, yes, we do get the question sometimes why people ask why so much. And I usually just tell people it's just based off of time invested and the amount of work. You're technically paying for our experience is what you're paying for.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people we're telling a little bit of the negative, but there is a lot of positive to it as well. You do a lot of work, but you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it. And
right. Yeah. I've never looked at my clock.
It's why you do what you do.
Yeah. I like I said, I've been doing this 5 years, and the reason I was iterating about time invested and stuff like that is because every single bit of it is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a day in the 5 years I've been doing this, no matter the long hours or the travel, I've never had a day where I go like, I shouldn't have done this. Like I've never had that day. I've never looked at my phone to say, oh my God, is it 8 hours yet? Or is it 10 hours? Like I've never, me working the long hours, like I said, no one's making me do it. It's just, I really do enjoy what I do. And that cliche is very true. When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
You never work a day in your life. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I have to admit, I'm kind of laughing at the irony of someone who used to do life insurance and is now writing about a serial killer.
That is ironic. And yes, please share it away.
Thank you, Gypsy. Yeah, just a little autobiography, kind of thing. So it's got to get your stories out there,
Definitely.
So it's like, wait, what?
You didn't catch it.
It's like, wait, what did you just say? No, it's the
irony moment there.
She's like, wait, what did he just say? But like, somebody call 911. It is, and don't get me wrong. I mean, you do see a lot of things when you work in the insurance world for sure, especially the hands-on we were. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the story, like I said, I've been a big horror fan for a long time. And with Charter Comics, who does a lot of horror comics, Chris Hayes has a lot of great books under his belt. And if you guys aren't following Charter Comics, definitely make sure you do, because at the momentum they have going right now, like, it would not shock me one bit if Charter Comics ends up being the next Image Comics, because they are growing crazy. They have a lot of labels under their umbrella right now, book-wise, and they're putting out some really good books.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you had, we have about 5 minutes left. If you had one gold nugget, and by the way, I'm putting Charter Comics' Facebook link in
thank
the thing, so make sure to follow them. I just did. If you had one gold nugget that you would give somebody who wants to do this, what would it be?
100% do it. There's no excuse now not to be an artist. Like I said, back in my day, there was no exposure, there was no social media, etc. If you couldn't physically walk up and hand an editor your portfolio at a Comic-Con, you were out of luck. And even then, you were pretty much out of luck. Right now, don't be scared to try it. Don't be scared to make that leap. Because of social media, Facebook, etc. You can create a massive platform for yourself. And the next thing you know, you're doing covers. Because you don't have to be the best artist. I'm not the best by any means. You just have to have the work ethic. You have to have the grind. For anybody to tell you now that, oh, you can't be an artist, there's no money to be made, there's no work to be had, they're 100% wrong. You just got to be willing to be the biggest grinder in the room. Because, like I said, you are competing against a lot of great talent for in a way, limited positions. But again, you can always do fan art. You can always create. And that's what matters. So whether you're young or whether you're older, whether you think it's too late in the game, it's all wrong thinking. Just put your nose down, grind it out, put yourself out there, grow some thick skin. You're going to need it. And don't worry about what other artists are doing or what other creators are doing, why they're getting this or getting that. Just concentrate on you and grind it out. And I promise you'll be landing covers.
And don't copy somebody else's style. Do your own.
Yeah. I mean, when you're first learning, there's always going to be influences. And as you do this more, you're always going to get people, hey, can you recreate this cover? As long as you pay respect and you give credit to where it's due, you're okay. But yeah, you are right. You do need to learn your own style, and you'll learn that with time. The most important thing is just put your head down and grind that art until you start having that visual vocabulary to kind of do your own thing and generate your own style.
So how can people find you at the next Comic-Con? Because I know you obviously have a lot lined up. What's your next 3 to 4 look like?
My next one I think it's this month again. And it's going to be, let's see, what was it? I will be at Huntsville Comic-Con, Comic and Pop Expo, the 21st and 21st through the 23rd of this month. Then the 29th of this month, I will be at Pelicon in Louisiana. And then next month, I will be at Comic Palooza in Houston, Texas for the 26th through the 28th. And then I've got other dates, and you can find all those on my Facebook page. But
perfect. Thanks for giving the heads up.
When you find out which booth you're at Comic Palooza, let me know, because that one's pretty big, so it's hard for me to navigate and remember where everything is.
Oh, cool. You're going to be there?
Yes, I'll be there all weekend at Comic Palooza. Woo.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's something else I need to start doing. Like, I'm going to start letting people know that, like, because I do, again, 99% of them, I'm by myself. So every show I do, I have an extra badge for a complete pass, early access. And then when I do 2 table cons, I've got 3 passes that just sit in my binder or sit in my box and just go to waste. So I'm going to start posting those as I start to do a show and find out I'm booked for it. I'm going to start posting those and let people kind of, either claim them or I'll do a raffle or something like that or give them away to someone. So yeah, just kind of keep an eye on that with the page because that is something I'm going to start doing to kind of, you'll get free, you'll get access. You can go in early the same time we do. So you get to see everything kind of behind the scenes a little bit.
Nice.
Awesome.
Kind of like a little bit of a give back.
Yeah. Because I'm not doing anything with them. So, but yeah, and I know you guys have another show coming up, but I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on. I really do appreciate that. Anybody who's sharing their platforms with indie artists and creators, we're very grateful for that. So thank you so much.
I'd be happy to. Do you have anything you'd like to add? We have about 1 minute left.
Just make sure you guys support indie. I know a lot of you guys are hardcore DC fans or Marvel fans or stuff like that, but I'm telling you from experience, there are a lot of great indie creators out there. So make sure you guys give a shot to those because 9 times out of 10, they're extremely affordable Kickstarters and books in general, etc. So make sure you guys kind of check us out and give a shot to some of those books. I promise you, for the most part, you won't regret it.
Well, and a lot of them
definitely big.
Yeah, and they're a lot different than what's even in the mainstream, which is because you're not getting the same thing that you're seeing.
Exactly. You're getting stories you'll never see at those bigger companies, and we're not being strangleholded by the companies either. We get to write how we want to write or create how we want to create, and it gives you guys a new thing to check out. So
definitely. Well, make sure to check out Artist William Russell on Facebook as well as on Instagram under the handle Latimer12. That's LATOMIER and the number 12. Check out his Psycho Sal. Gypsy says, nice chat, guys. Thank you guys for your attention. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you guys for commenting. In the meantime, next week we will have Kilgore Geekins owners and coordinators, Melissa McGinnis and Rick Custer. So make sure to come same time, same sandbox. In the meantime, get your wands to the ready.
Where's mine? Oh,
ready. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love y'all. And for now, mischief managed. Bye.